My name is Dylan Sara. Welcome to the Drawn Together show. Join me for this series of conversations where we create together, share our shared experiences, draw and paint portraits with wonderful, inspiring, creative people. If you would like to support the show, then consider becoming a Drawn Together VIP, where you'll receive invitations to our after parties where we keep the conversation going and keep on working and learning together, deepen our conversations, and just spend time making cool stuff together. You'll find the link to become a Drawn Together VIP in the show notes. Thank you for being here and enjoy the show. Dirty fingers or no, it is lovely to have you here, and especially delightful to be joined by Ian Goldsmith today. Thank you for being here, Ian.
My pleasure, mate.
It's nice to be here, and thank you to everyone who's watching us live right now. Welcome to the Drawn Together show. Ian was our third guest, and I feel like it was maybe 2.5 years ago. It feels like quite a while ago. And it was before the release of your book. And at the end of our conversation, we're like, oh, once your book's out, we'll have to have another chat. And here we are. So congratulations on the release of your book, Ian.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, how's it been? I imagine... Yeah, just how's it been with the book?
It's weird, really, because people now, when they ask me what do I do, and they don't know me, and they're like, well, what do you do? I'm like, I'm not sure. I used to just confidently go, I'm an artist. But now I don't know, am I an author? Now I've got a book out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of wonder about I think it's really fascinating to see, I've kind of been following along with your color studies over the years, and that it became a book. And I was just listening to your conversation with Nicolas Uribe, and there you had said that you haven't actually been painting figuratively for a while because you've been really focused on these studies. Yeah. So
yeah, it's pretty much what I do now at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's become all consuming. I'm being consumed by it.
Yeah, it's amazing because once the book was out, you didn't stop, and it seems like you shifted to light and your light experimentations. Right? Was that like before the book was released or around that time?
I think while I was doing the book, a lot of questions were coming up about the differences between colour in light and colour in pigment. I wasn't really satisfied with the answers that were kind of, normally trotted out. Oh, they're different, and that's all they give you. Oh, they're just different. Or one's subtractive, one's additive, and I wanted to sort of see where that would take me, really. So it's been a lot of fun. It's still a lot of fun. It's still a lot of questions. It's funny, I think the more you understand a subject, the more questions seem to come up rather than you think, oh, I can just sit down now and drink tea and eat biscuits. So I feel that everything's going to be okay because I know everything, but you really don't feel that way at all. You feel like you don't really know anything at all, really. But obviously I do. I know something. Otherwise I wouldn't have written a book. But
the book's very convincing.
It's a humbling subject.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, do you feel like how long did you actually spend with all of the studies that went into this book?
Well, a lot of the studies I did before, when I approached the publisher, go back to the beginning, when I approached the publisher and said, would you be interested in a book on colour theory? Actually, two options. Would you be interested in colour theory or a book on portraiture? They went, oh, colour theory. Oh, that sounds very interesting. Yes, we're very interested in a book on colour theory. And I was like, great. And then, well, when would you need it? And they, well, have you got it? And I was, no, I haven't written it. I haven't written a book on colour theory. I just thought that'd be a good idea. And so at that point, I had to all the studies I'd done so far. I had to sort of assess whether they were going to be worthwhile, whether they were still valid, whether they needed reassessing, whether they needed repainting, and quite a lot of them actually needed redoing. But yeah, it was quite a wild process because I had no idea how to write a book, mate. Absolutely zero idea. The poor lady who's handling me, she deserves so much credit.
Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, what you need is this thing called a flat plan. And I was like, what's that? And she said, well, basically it's an outline of your book. A flat plan, it's kind of like a spreadsheet, basically, of where all the bits go in the book. And I was like, oh, yeah. An idea of what would go in the book would be really valuable.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I was going to do it in InDesign, and then I actually ordered the software and got the software and was ready to sort of like start doing it in InDesign. And I thought, hang on a minute, I need to contact the publisher and ask them what they want. And they were like, well, the design guys are going to do all that. We just want the content. We just want the text and the images. So thankfully, I didn't have to do that, and I got my money back from Adobe, which must be a miracle. I mean, Adobe never gives the money back, does it?
What a relief.
But yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So it was an interesting ride. It was very a stressful business.
Yeah. So what was the timeline like from the first time you're like, would you be interested in this? And then having to repaint and churn all of that out.
I think once we got the plan in place, it wasn't too bad, because then I could just sort of like do chunks and send it off. And by the time they'd sort of like processed what I'd sent off, I was already sort of like busy doing the next chapter, or working on revisions of stuff that had been sent back. So we worked at the same sort of speed, which was kind of nice. Me and the publisher. I mean, they took ages to get back to me with emails, and so that always gave me sort of time to sort of get on with stuff. That it's an interesting process, though. It's not something I'd wholeheartedly endorse. Writing a book, but yeah, I'd do it again. Now I've done it once. No,
The colors aren't right in the book about color.
no, the colours are okay in the book. The publisher thought that I would be really interested in the colour, and the colour would be like the most important thing for me, right? So they were like, "You've got to come up to the publishing house and see these super prints that we've done of this thing called Fogra, which is this super high quality colour sort of matching thing." And so I went up and saw these proofs, and she was like, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Well, the colour's fine. The images aren't so good." Yeah, the images aren't that good at all, but the colour's fantastic. And they're like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Like, well, they're all blown out. You've just taken all the pencils out, and everything, all the detail and all the images is just completely gone. And they're like,
Okay, because you have like notation on some of the diagrams and
yeah. But the repro house in London that was supposed to top quality repro house in London that was supposed to handle that, they kind of they didn't do a great job, sadly. So most of the images in the book are actually off my iPhone.
wow, yeah, it's the phone can, at least compared to scanners, I would think in publishing there'd be some other technology available, but
Yeah, it
I
would,
find
wouldn't it?
photographing drawings often works better than trying to scan or something.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
guess you delivered because these are all paintings. Anyone who's looking through this book, or I think it's amazing just to imagine your work, your painting. Each one of these images is like every page has been painted by you. So you have a lot of these panels, I imagine, and you delivered them to be photographed. And
Yeah, a big crate of those went up to London to be photographed.
yeah, wow, yeah. So here there's the notation, which is also telling us what color it is, right? So it's nice to have there.
Yeah, I thought so. It's sort of having the pencils in it made it kind of look like it had been, and the detail that
Yeah, I
hadn't been
really
done.
appreciate it. So it's good that was addressed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was the idea, but in the end, they used the majority of my iPhone pictures. To be honest, they were better than the ones they'd done professionally.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I guess I spent a lot of time sort of like when I took the pictures of the diagrams, I'd spend a lot of time trying to reduce the glare of the natural daylight and trying to get it just right as an art. Being an artist, you kind of that's what you do. You kind of like try and get what you see as accurately as possible on the phone. So I think I kind of underestimated that really, and So the iPhone or just your phone.
Yeah. Just you don't need fancy gear. Just saw an interesting question come up in the chat. And by the way, everyone, there's reference available. There's a link in the description, and you can grab this reference and be drawing along with it. That's what we do here at Drawn Together. We draw our guests, and you can draw along. There are a couple of photos here, and once we reach the 1 hour mark, we're going to be jumping over to our Zoom after party. And for anyone who would like to join that, there is a link in the description. So we'll just be continuing what we're doing here, but you'll be able to join the conversation. But please do ask questions in the chat as well. And the question we just
No, the original was bigger. Just seeing if I've got any laying around. That one's in the book. That's how big it is in real life.
Wow.
My
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. That'd be cool. Maybe the second edition, collector's edition.
Yeah, they're all painted on MDF, 5mm MDF. Was it 6mm? Could be 6mm.
There's a link to the book in the description for anyone of this live video, for anyone who wants to get it, and for the replay, it'll be in the show notes and such. If you're listening to this somewhere else and not on YouTube. Yeah, did someone just asked about a Kindle version?
Yeah, I think there is, and it's there are different digital versions. Yeah, I didn't know there was until I asked.
I was just, as we're chatting, I'll bring up some of your oil paintings and just kind of see them continue to chat, because I think it's amazing. And I wonder, I've been thinking about this a lot. What went from, so last time we talked, you said you had been painting for 10 years. So now it must be 12 years. And of course,
Yeah.
I think I heard that you were doing other work before that. So it'd be interesting. I'm not sure we covered your origin story last time, but like how you, yeah, I'll bring up some of your work, because you're an incredible oil painter, and I'm wondering, what was the process like? I'm imagining you were curious about your paint, and so you did some color wheels, and it opened up the color rabbit hole for you. So yeah, we'll just have a look through your work, and maybe you can. And I'm just a bit distracted by the comment from Tommy, who said, "I think I grabbed the wrong reference. It's a guy that looks like a time traveling magician. Is he holding a teacup?"
I love that. That'd be so cool. What do you do? I'm a time traveling magician.
So you can, I don't know, if that's the first comment we've had about that. I'm an author from the future and the past.
Yeah, then drop one of those smoke things that makes you so you can disappear.
All right, I've got it. I just for some reason I didn't have this, but yeah, this painting of Milo. It's so cool to see these phases, because the finished version is incredibly black, at least on when I look at it on my phone, and it's amazing that you've got that underlying color. So cool.
Yeah, that was a big picture actually. Big for me. I don't like working large, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There's a lot going on. The edges of pictures. There's a lot going on there. It's quite sort of, in terms of light. It's yeah, an underappreciated bit of the picture normally.
Yeah, and it's since I was looking at this, and I've been kind of zooming in on some of your others and trying to see what's going on at the edges, and here we go. So yeah, it's interesting looking through your work, because when was the last time you finished a portrait or a figurative painting?
Last year, I think. I think it was spring, like about this time last year, maybe earlier, a little bit earlier in the year. A year ago. I've got one sitting on the top of my desk here, which I haven't carried on with. Well, I will carry on with it at some point.
Are we allowed to see it?
No.
No, we're not.
But yeah, that's Tolu. She's a friend of ours.
Nice. Yeah. And so origin story.
Yeah.
So when you say that it was just like 12 years ago that you started painting, what were you doing before that?
So how far do you want me to go back? When I was 5. I don't know. My earliest childhood. Yeah, let's go. No, don't go back that. It was in black and white back then.
Your memories are in black and white?
Yeah, or color was a relatively new thing when I was young.
But I've seen a self-portrait of yours, I think, with color pencil, and you were talking about color pencil. So you have you were working with pencil before you waded into the paint.
Yeah, I did a lot of pencil work when I was at college, and probably was afraid of color, I guess, really, because how do you add color? It's like if you've not used it before, you might sort of dabble with watercolors, which is ironic because it's probably the hardest thing to use, watercolors. But yeah, so I guess being a pencil artist and illustrator, I thought colored pencils was the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time with colored pencils. In fact, I got offered a job at college doing that by my illustration teacher, but then quit college and then decided not to do it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I then got into printing and reprographics. Did that for quite a while. Did that for about 15 years. Then left that and was doing, I retrained and got a qualification in gardening, Royal Horticultural Society certificate in gardening, and Royal Forestry Society certificate in arboriculture. So I was a tree surgeon and a gardener for about 10 years or so.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, because the atmosphere of the print room was pretty unpleasant. So I kind of wanted to get out into the. I thought, oh, what do I do? Being outside, I could garden. I like gardening, so did that. But then I had to give it up. Had to give it up, and slowly was able to re-pick up where I was with art. Hedgehog. I haven't seen a hedgehog for a long time. Yeah, I do like seeing them in the garden, but I haven't seen them for a long time. Could have done. Yeah, yeah. We do get them. I haven't seen them for a long time though. They're endangered here. There's a big push to try and encourage them into people's gardens in the UK because that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah. Although they quite often carry fleas, so you wouldn't ask it into the house. Yeah, they get a lot. Yeah, they're teeming with fleas normally when you get close to them. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like a hedgehog then. That's an interesting question. Green's a fascinating colour, actually. Yeah, it's because there are not very many of them, are there? I mean, good greens. So when you want to, there's not many. Yeah, in a tube. Yeah.
I heard from book design that green covers don't sell, and I wondered if that was from someone living in a city where they don't have much green, maybe. But it was an interesting statement because I think it was an art director who had said that, and I thought that was interesting. And I wonder what is the thing with green, why there's so few greens. I sing a lot of green right now outside, but it seems to be challenging. To say don't use green because we can't print it. And speaking of long time, an interesting question here was, did your BP executive portrait, which you painted with motor oil and pollution, did it ever stop stinking?
It doesn't smell so bad.
But it's sticky and wet. Has it dried?
It's still wet.
Okay.
It's never dried, no. It got to that sort of iridescent stage, which is kind of cool, where the surface is kind of slightly iridescent, like a puddle and after rain where there's been oil around.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, it's still wet. And that was years ago, so I ought to put it in something really to sort of stop it getting bumped or damaged. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just stay in the same place, I think. Yeah, just sort of general motor oiliness about it.
You can't touch them. Yeah, it does look amazing. I've recently noticed rainbows on my tea. Oh, speaking of tea, I have tea here, yeah. And there's oil in the tea leaves, which, depending on how, there's like this thin surface of oil. I have some oolong tea, and
nice.
Yeah, and sometimes if you've got good tea leaves, and not just I don't know, sometimes there's a bit of oil on there, which is interesting. I don't think you could see it, but I hear I've got my tea thing in here, but no, you definitely can't see it.
You sure it wasn't from the moustache that's kind of transferred into the tea?
It's my own oil, which is in the tea. My beautifully scented moustache oil, which was in my tea, and I thought it came from the tea. There were some cool questions. This is a very interesting line of conversation, but I just don't want to forget the cool questions that we have, because I asked Instagram, the community, and people can keep asking in the chat. It's very good. So this is about your personal preferences, but what color combinations do you like to pair the most, if there is such a thing?
Me personally?
Yeah. And people in the chat can tell us their favorite combinations as well.
Yeah. That's a really difficult question, actually, because colors that I would probably pair and love to see around generally aren't necessarily the colours I'd naturally pair when I'm painting. Because you normally pick something that complements what you're painting, and as you're painting people, it's not often I paint someone who's orange, and so I think, I'll have a nice teal background there.
Yeah.
Or red, and think, I'll have a nice cyan background. That'd be really cool. I mean, there are colours I really like. I mean, I love using magenta. Ever since I ditched alizarin and went over to magenta, I've never not looked back. I love that colour. So that gets used a lot in my work, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I love I love cobalt teal at the moment. That's a big favourite. It's such a strange colour, you know. I mean, why is it opaque? Strangely opaque. Yeah, PG50. It's kind of cobalt teal, isn't it?
Cobalt teal.
Yeah, or turquoise. Yeah, yeah. I guess I have favourites on any given day. You know, depends on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
A philosophical, spiritual question.
Yeah, probably orange and turquoise, I suppose. I love that combination. Great. John, if I've got to pick one, I'll pick those because they're crackers.
Yeah, nice. I watched. Krista would like to see my moustache dyed rainbow colors, rainbow oil colors. Like, yeah,
You'd have to bleach it first, wouldn't you? And
I
then,
would have to bleach it first, unless I just put some oil on there and get the light right, and maybe there'd be like a rainbow.
use some really opaque paints on it, or something. You know, really
Yeah,
just moustache.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. I was going to say sometimes we have black rabbits, 2 of them, and sometimes in the sun, I'm just like, whoa, and like I'll be with the kids with the rabbits. I'm just like, can you see this on the fur? Do you see what I'm
Colour.
seeing? And it's amazing because in the shadow they just look like shadow, and the little one is named Shadow. But if you see them in the sun, it's incredible what that black fur is doing.
Yeah, because you're increasing the amount of light that you're putting on the colour, aren't you? And so
Yeah.
more interesting things happen when you got more light.
Hmm. This is quite interesting, perhaps open question, but how to use color temperature in painting? Is there something you can address there?
How do I use colour temperature in painting?
Yeah, how to use color temperature. I remember there's been some things. Was it James Gurney who did this myth busting? Was like having warm light does not necessarily mean you have cool shadows, but it can be very interesting to pair like the warm and cool combination, but it's not always the case.
Yeah, I think do you know, it's funny. I know a bit about colour and how it works, but when it comes to actually painting a picture, or doing a portrait, I don't actually often sit and think about the theory of colour when I'm doing it. You know,
Interesting, yeah.
I don't think I'm using red, so what would be a really good colour to pair with the red? I'm usually led by what I'm looking at, and also a lot about how you feel about the colours. You know, so I think a lot of artists are very, very good with colour because they're intuitively good with it. Since the day we're born and we open our eyes and we can see things, we're absorbing, and we're kind of like looking at colour, and we're trying to sort of make sense of what we're looking at, and we become very familiar with it. And I think I think as artists, you kind of that inbuilt sense of colour and your intuition is usually what drives you. You don't often sort of sit and think about what's the physics behind what I'm looking at, or what's the colour theory behind what I'm looking at. Occasionally, when you get stuck and you're looking at something, you think, I don't really know quite what I'm looking at, in terms of colour. And then I'll be like, oh, well, what would the theory tell me? What's the theory behind that? What should I be seeing? What should the answer to that visual problem be? And then it comes in really handy knowing some colour theory, because you can kind of, you can bring out the theory.
Yeah. That's interesting. That ties in kind of to another question that we had. It's a bit vague and not really a question, but it says about shadow colors. Someone would like to know about shadow colors and what you're saying about when you get stuck and you're looking at something and you're like, and that is something that I've found like sometimes within the shadow, because I've done a lot of work which is very monochromatic, where I'm just looking at value rather than color. When I do paint with color and then like start to see all of these things happening in the shadow, which is like, and it's all it can be within a very limited value range, but then you can have so many different colors and hues in there. It's really kind of confusing and amazing to notice.
Yeah. No, shadows amazing. I love shadows, but the shadow really is just it is in theory, a shadow should be the color that's behind it, but just turned down. You just turn the amount of light down on it. And in theory, if you turn the light up on the shadow, you're going to get the color that's underneath. So if you've got a wall and it's a blue wall and it's got a black shadow on the wall, if you turn the light up on that shadow, you're going to start to see more and more blue in the shadow. But our eyes do some pretty wacky stuff as well with those shadows. We tend to see some stuff as well that isn't necessarily physically there.
Mm-hmm.
But the great thing about shadows is they always follow the spectrum order. I've never found one that sort of like breaks the order of the spectrum. So if it fades into different colours, it always fades along the rainbow order of colours. You don't often get them where you have a blue right next to a red, or maybe you do. There's usually a logic to how shadows work. I love shadows, actually.
Is there one that I brought up earlier that would maybe... Have you painted such a transition?
Have I painted such a... Yeah, there is one that I've got with a weird shadow, but I don't know where it is. My work's all buried. My actual paintings are buried under a load of studies of colour stuff at the moment.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, those transitions usually always follow the order of colours you'd see them in a spectrum. Yeah. So I don't know if you've got a red edge, and it'll fade yellow or orange, or it fade darker red or whatever. But, hey, I recognise that.
So how would you... I'll bring up a couple of amazing light things here that are showing the spectrum. And how would you incorporate that into this, like that understanding of the progression of the colors through the spectrum? How would you go about bringing that into like your painting?
Well, unless it's actually in what I'm trying to paint, I probably wouldn't. But
I'm just wondering if there are moments in an image, where would you see this kind of thing?
Okay, so with one of the pictures of mine, there's a shadow cast across somebody's face. So there you've got this. Yeah, there you go. So you've got the skin color, which is in very high sort of value skin color on the right there, I guess, where the light's hitting it the strongest. And then there where there's no light, there it's in shadow. And then the transition between those 2 points is going to be an area where the two. So if the light point is kind of yellow, and the shadow point is in this case kind of a magenta, kind of dark magenta color, then it's going to be the transition is going to be a blend of those two colors, and it's so effectively the light spot, believe it or not, is the same color as the dark spot in reality. But those transitions will be a mix of those two colours. Does that make any sense? I don't know if it does really. Yeah. Well, in theory, those two colours should be the same. It's just that one's been turned down and the other one's been turned up by extra light. One's turned down by less light. Yeah, there'll be some of that going on as well. Yeah, there'll be some reflected colour in there as well. What you got, Dylan?
Just exploring your Instagram account. But here's the picture I was just looking at. And everyone, if you're not already, go follow Ian on Instagram, and you'll be able to browse and be amazed, because it's so cool. Like
light of day for a long time.
Like to see like you got all these amazing paintings, and then like flicking from amazing painting and then the next post is like this color exploration, and like if we get up real close to this, you can see a bit of what's happening at the edge of the transition between light and shadow.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always loads of colour in there. A lot of people kind of like I don't think we just look hard enough most of the time, but there's some of the most interesting bits, the edges of the transitions between light and dark. I mean, that's where colour happens, the difference between light and dark, the sort of like tension between the two is where you see colour. Where it's not being sort of absorbed into the darkness, and where it's not being washed out by the light. That is literally the point where colour happens. Colour is daylight where something's been subtracted from it, basically.
Cool.
Yeah.
So pay attention to those transitions.
Yeah, they're just really interesting, aren't they?
Yeah.
there's colour in there, hidden colour in there that you kind of like you can miss, but your eye won't miss it when you see it represent. If someone represents it and misses that, you'll be like, well, there's something not quite right, you know. But when you do see it, they'll be like, oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because light spots and shadows. Yeah.
Like you feel like you've got to understand what's going on. You have an urge to understand it.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Students with sketching.
I think you said in our last conversation, Ian, you said that you don't sketch much. So maybe you'd be an authority on what a sketch is. If it's something you avoid.
I should ask you, what is a sketch? You know, you do occasionally see a really sort of like detailed drawing, don't you? And someone says, "Oh, a sketch, I did a so and so," and you're like, "That's not a sketch. That's just like that's almost photographic. That's one of the best drawings I've ever seen in my life. How can that be a sketch?" You know, because if that's a sketch, you sort of think, well, where are you going to go after that? How are you going to make that better?
Where does it go from there?
This is already coming with sort of, you know, inbuilt sort of heavenly choirs when you look at it. How are you going to how are you going to make that better? If that's your sketch, then I'm just waiting to see the you know, the full drawing, because it's going to be transcendent.
I just understood that there was a brief hesitation. If that's your sketch, I'm waiting to see the full. Like you've already reached that point, and then because that's what it's felt like for me sometimes. Like the drawing, I'm like, hey, there's some, you know, this is alive, this is great. And now I'm going to paint on it. I'm like, oh, and so it's like there is that transcendent moment, and then comes the full. Then maybe the sketch was the finished thing, and what happens after? It becomes a significant investment of time and attention to take something from being a sketch to finished, perhaps.
Yeah.
Could be. To look within.
Should we give you a minute?
It's often good in a live stream context when I've had questions. I'm just like, what's the difference? And just ask people. So we could ask the chat, what's the difference between a sketch and a drawing? Because I've also been leading a daily sketch practice, and then I realized when my sketches sometimes would turn into like an hour-long piece, I'm like, I think I crossed the boundary somewhere. So when it's like, you can try. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I don't feel limited by your accusation, but it's interesting because I do think about time. I operate with time a lot. I'm like, okay, so we're going to do this long. I'm going to do this. But yeah, what is a sketch which is not governed by time? Oh yeah. And pigeons can always find their way, right? They have magnetite in their beaks, so they know where due north is. Seriously, homing pigeons, I think they have like iron and magnetite, the color you can paint with it. Pigeon black.
What other pigeons have got into the conversation about sketching it?
So the magnet goes to the stars. The magnetite is actually, it's stardust. Here it goes. Sabra's bring us back from the pigeons, or maybe it's totally in alignment with the pigeons. But a sketch.
I keep going with the pigeons. The pigeons are awesome. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I mean,
this is also a great or a word to be casual about the fact that you've produced a full-fledged artwork, but you're being modest.
Yeah, I could do better. It's just a sketch. So we can go back to you.
It's great.
They kept me. Yeah.
Yes, and this is also interesting. Petition for Dylan to dye his beard pigeon-colored, the colorfulest ones, because pigeons, they like this. Maybe there's a petition there, but pigeons are amazing, and they do have like, they'll be like gray, all these amazing grays, and then they'll have just like this a bit of bling where they've got like the rainbow is in their neck kind of thing, and it's like, whoa, look at that.
They do.
Yeah, and so they've got like every color, and they've got magnetite in their beaks. They're amazing animals, incredible.
You ever notice where they fly?
It's a pigeon. Cool.
Pigeons kind of fall when they fly, don't they? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, like they go up and they're like, this is it. Yeah.
Oh, you got loads of them. Wood pigeons, yes.
Wood pigeons, are they like the really big ones? I saw a giant pigeon in New Zealand. It was just like
big-ish, I guess.
So much bigger than it was like out in nature and not in the city, and it was like expanded to its full pigeon potential, and it was just like such a big bird. It was amazing. I'm not sure. It's a beautiful place, Aotearoa. Soon, so I've basically spent this live stream drawing, refraining from applying color to this piece. But we're gonna in 10 minutes we're going to head over to Zoom, and you can join, become
Are you sketching?
Yeah, I've been sketching. This is a drawing. Is this a sketch? Is it explorative, or is this preparation for something profound which is about to happen in the after party?
Yeah,
It's a
I like that.
sketch. It's
Yeah.
a loophole.
Oh, it's only a sketch.
It's wiggle
Yeah,
room.
I like that. Because you can do an oil sketch as well. Cool.
I'll start putting. I'll put something down now. But this is like this is my drawing. Do you want to color? I recently tried oil pastels for the first time during a live stream, and then part way I was just like, what is happening? And it's it's interesting that it's I never thought about it before until I tried last week, but it's like oil paint. It's just like a stick of, paint basically, and you can I didn't wear gloves, and it smells like oil paint because it's just like a block
You
of
like good ones.
oil and pigment. And then as I was blending the colors just by rubbing them together, and then it was just like it was kind of amazing to watch what they do, because they're kind of like crayons, except they're like a solid block of oil paint. Deadly crayons with all of the heavy metals and stuff in there.
Yeah, don't chew those at home, kids.
Mm.
They do. Wax.
We have some great beeswax candles, crayons. Yeah, they are for like anthroposophic crayons. So for the Waldorf kindergarten, Rudolf Steiner, he probably, Rudolf Steiner, everything that all of his utterances, he was a very prolific person. Maybe similar to Newton. We were talking about Newton last time, but he had opinions and ideas about everything, and everything he said was documented and studied, and is kind of anthroposophy is what that field of like the Rudolf Steiner and what he said and his adherents, or the things that he inspired, is anthroposophy, which has something somehow to do with theosophy as well. But anyway, they use beeswax crayons, and I want not only 3 colors, but they're not allowed to use black. I don't think there's cadmium in there, because they have them like the babies. There's also the way that they create, and maybe there's someone who's been through Steiner education here who can tell us, but you need to, from the beginning, like they get the kids to put both the soles of their feet on the ground, and to have the correct posture, and there's kind of a prescribed way. It's not just kind of like go for it. There is a kind of sequential development, and there's this kind of everything's been thought through. So those crayons may be okay to chew on, though I wouldn't recommend it. And they also make their own paints, and they use cherry sap, which I have also made inks with cherry sap. But cherry sap has a very distinctive smell, like you wouldn't want to eat it. And I've heard people who went through Waldorf education are like, oh, the smell of cherry sap, because it's a binder, so you make your pigment and put cherry sap in it, and it's a great binder. But it has a special smell. Oh yes, tell us about that. The most dangerous paint thing.
Yeah, it's in a jar right now, where it belongs. I keep meaning to tape the jar so that nobody's accidentally going to open it one day. But it's sitting in a jar.
Yeah, there's a very
Wow, that's super cool. That could be. That is really cool. Oh, nice. Check it out. I do have a black light actually as well. I bought a black light. I've hardly used it yet, but I do have a black light. Yeah, it's a weird expression, isn't it? A black light.
Yeah. Does that mean there could there be, if you have a black light and you're going to do like I've been to some parties and I have some friends who made some really cool black light art, and it'll be interesting if there was if you were going to experiment with black light and what that does with pigments, because there's this very specific range, like there's neon stuff that's kind of possible, or there's like it looks one way under kind of daylight, and then when the black light turns on in the darkness to the sounds of the amazing music, then it's like, whoa, it becomes something totally different. So it's like,
is that what we're going to have? in the after party, do we have
After party.
black lights and music?
Yes, we'll be switching off these lights. Better for you.
You can't buy infrared light now. I wanted to buy an infrared light because I've got a black light which is ultraviolet, and I thought we go the other end. I'll get an infrared one. I'm looking for infrared lights on the internet, and they're all sort of like super expensive now because people want to bathe in them. You know,
Yeah.
I want to bathe in it on a cheap one to do experiments with. Yeah, well, I've got a light that does red. It just, I can't tell how close that gets to infrared. Can you see it?
Really? Wow. Oh.
It's interesting.
We just moved at the end of last year, and I found one of those infrared lights in the basement here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have one. Yeah. Oh wow. All right. So this time next year, you have to shave because of the infrared light. You don't have to,
but you want to.
Okay. So this is the thing. This is the thing I'm going to do in terms of color. Yeah, I'm slapping some green on this, which is not. I want it to be much darker. This is May green, and we can get into. It is May. I only use this in May.
In May. Otherwise,
it's not allowed.
May. Always makes me think of Totoro when everybody says May.
May. Yeah, that is maybe the best film. Oh, it's so nice.
No, right.
I love it. Cool. I was going to, and perhaps we're about to head over to Zoom. We'd love to have you join us. If you'd like to, then you can head to the Drawn Together Patreon and become a VIP, support the show, and continue this for the next hour. And you can talk with us as well. But I was just about to, and this could kind of lead into color. I just listened and watched a video of yours where you were saying, please stop using alizarin crimson. And this is a signature palette of our dear friend Gris. And this right here, this is alizarin crimson. And we're not going to get into it. A social rift. There's going to be a fight in the after party. But it's interesting because I've heard you talk about it quite often. And I knew going in that it was a fugitive color, which means it fades. But yeah, it's interesting. But it was interesting listening to you talk about it and being like, oh, it's in this palette, which was specifically chosen by a wonderful friend of ours, who's also been a guest here, Chris. And he has alizarin crimson. With Schminker, he got to choose these colors to put in a watercolor palette. And that's one of them. Interesting. How many points?
Alizarin crimson? Awesome. Alizarin, yeah.
How many points did you get for alizarin? Cool.
So alizarin in watercolor, that's probably just about the worst way you can use it, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Because it's so thin.
Yeah.
So diluted that it's probably just going to be red for 5 minutes.
A lovely brown pitch.
Yeah.
Like, it goes brown, I think, over the years. Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it, if it just came back again? If it's
that would be amazing. It's a seasonal green.
When it come back again, it's full strength.
Yeah, you've got to like water it, so you could just have mist it again, and then as it soaks in the water, it's like it starts to. Yes, but we're about to stop this live stream, and we're heading over to Zoom right now, where we can. Yeah, and I'm going to put some more color on here. I'm going to try and be brave because I've spent the last month. All last month, I was being brave with watercolor, trying to do sketches with watercolor. And yeah, that's right. Yeah, so we're heading over to Zoom. Thank you so much for being here for the live stream. Like and subscribe to this channel because we're going to be doing this again. We do have a Patreon. There are many links in the description to this video. And if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, you could put a drawing hand emoji in the chat or the comments. Yeah, well done. So the hair change, it's time for us to head to Zoom. Hair is changing. Patreon, support us via Patreon. Get Ian's book. There's also a link in the description. And let's stay in touch and chat about color and paint and share our stuff. And it's going to be really cool. And this conversation is about to continue. But thank you, everyone, for joining the live stream.
Sorry for my lack of wisdom so far.
We didn't come here for wisdom, but it has been very enjoyable hanging out with you. And I look forward to the next hour too.
If you came to sort of like learn all about colour, then I'm really sorry.
Well, if you came to learn all about colours, buy Ian's book.
Pigeons are fantastic. I love the pigeons.
Yes, pigeons have all of the colours. Pigeons are transcendental masters of colour.
Yeah.
And I've heard them referred to as the dirty bird, but they have all of the colours. You just need to look, see them in the right light. I learned a lot. This was great. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you in Zoom very soon. All right, so that was our live stream.